Marty Spaghetti took Bud Fox's rise and fall as a small benchmark and expanded more on the Wall Street lifestyle with his take on Jordan Belfort. So many memorable lines, so many great deliveries, so many great performances that it almost feels a little too much. Like too much of a good thing. Jordan doesn't really have that long period of reflection on the bad shit he's done. There are moments, but Jordan and the movie plow ahead each time to do their best to forget them. He does lose his house, Naomi, the kids, and everyone else, but these losses just feel trivial at the end when he's out of jail and asking people to sell him this pen all over again. It doesn't make the movie less addictive, funny, or larger than life, but it's pretty noticeable when compared to a deeply weird man with a deeply odd fascination with real estate. It's small and it's awkward. But then that mastodon hits. The big strength of The Big Short is its pacing. You watch Margin Call and yeah, I mean, that's a pretty solid movie, but it's a real slow burn that doesn't get interesting until the middle. Go back to Big Short. We're reading spreadsheets, and it feels like we're sprinting down Michael Burry's neurons, snapping around in his head as he absorbs the information in real time. I love when ordinary tasks like these are made to be so intense. Spider-Man 2, delivering pizzas. Wind Rises, drawing schematics. The Social Network, the entire fucking movie. For a movie that goes for explaining banking, it does not feel boring or slow at all, and still retains that addictive rush of Wolfie. Oh yeah. The Big Short walks a fine line between simple analogies and keeping it light. Housing market, Jenga, Salinas, CDO, casino.
Subprime shit.
You might not understand everything the first time through, but it's explained in a way that's not overwhelming and invites you to rewatch. And once it clicks, those moments turn into...
You okay?
No.
What also elevates this film is the different perspectives we get from the big bets on the crisis. Of course, there's Michael Burry, who's alone in his belief at his firm and the pressure of his bet. But then there's Jared Vennett, an outsider within his own bank that smell money. Mark Baum, Vinny, and the boys provide as much camaraderie as they do conflict. Jamie and Charlie give us a duo looking to prove themselves in the story, and frankly, as actors next to these big names. Each group shares a perfect amount of screen time and unique perspective, and when they intertwine,
what? Pay up, fellas.
No. Fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
No. Go right down. Get up fucking.
No, seriously, clonic once a year.
it's magic. Each storyline is great in its own right, but personally, I love my Brownfield boys. Going from getting embarrassed and talked down to in the JP Morgan Chase lobby, failing to get a seat at the big boy table, only to finally get there. Wolfie starts out as this big party that gets progressively crazier, and we're kind of all just waiting to see how it falls apart. The Big Short starts off as deceptively small scale, as a big value play on the housing market that turns into opportunity.
No, money.
But as we go deeper into the bet, the numbers start to not make any sense.
What the hell?
2 + 2 equals...
Please explain that to me.
The system is blind beyond belief. And when we finally get the opportunity to find out who we're betting against...
What?
This isn't just a bet on the housing market. This is a bet on everything.
I'm gonna call my mom.
I could do a whole video on the Vegas portion. It is such a perfect analogy to what the CDO market was. The lack of regulation, the fact that the house was always going to win and everyone playing was going to lose. That walk out of the casino. And the incredibly big piece of shit CDO manager walking out into a limo. But it hits home for Mark in particular. Although Charlie and Jamie are my favorite boys, Mark is uniquely interesting. He's introduced so effectively. In 2 minutes, we know all we need to know. His nose for bullshit, his disregard of social niceties, his critique of society being in a goddamn indie video. But at his core, like all of us, he's a hypocrite. He hates Wall Street, yet he continues to work under the umbrella of Morgan Stanley, possibly as a therapeutic for his baggage. Jared is
Everything you taught us not to trust.
Yet he pursues this bet on the housing market out of pride to personally get back at the system. In the most important scene in the film, he rags on the ratings woman for being a foot soldier, but she takes off her glasses and flips it right back in his face.
How many credit default swaps do you own?
When he has the opportunity to pull up, he doubles down, acts in his own self-interest like a banker would, and proceeds to give a speech on fraud when he's about to profit off of that fraud. Then in the final frames of the movie, against all his instincts,
Mark.
even against his own words.
You know, once we sell, we'll be just like the rest of them.
Cashes out. I've seen both of these movies more times than I have any other films, and if you've seen my prior attempts, I don't think that should be a surprise. Each of them provides that addictive rush with their intense pace, and while I love the bombastic nature of Wolfie, dude, there's just something about The Big Short. The different but equally enjoyable perspectives, its tone that balances the comedic nature of Wolfie with the somber moods of Wall Street, its desire to inform as well as entertain, and how it walks that line so effectively. It makes you want to understand its complexity, keeps the movie fresh, and even more relevant than ever. The Big Short is an infinitely rewatchable masterpiece, and I love it.
Shut up.
Stop it. Stop.